Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and again we have another big plastic model kit. I mean, it's really big, and if you can't read the English, because I can, it says this is Xiahou Dun, and this comes to us from MS General. So I've been on a bit of a girl robot mecha modeling thing, just because it seems that it's not going away from the hobby, but there have been some interesting kits. And I'm all for checking out what's new and what's different and, you know, evolve with the hobby, I guess. But when I saw this model in particular, I haven't built anything from MS General. They've been doing Three Kingdoms generals and people of interest with, you know, the whole Mecha Musume thing, but usually with some kind of a gimmick animal theme. So I know we've had, what's his name? Guan Yu, with a bunch of dragons as a girl, obviously. They had Chow Chow, or whatever his name is. I can't think of his name. Kolko, I think was his name in Japanese. The guy that ran away. His/her boss. Anyways, so I saw this one. It's got this big old mecha tiger, white tiger thing, which I've always been a fan of the white tiger when we have it modeled. So I thought this was going to be kind of a fun one to build. Haven't built anything from this company yet, so that's kind of the other reason I wanted to give it a shot. Figured it's probably, yeah, it's 1/12 scale, 1/12 scale, like a lot of the other kits of this type. Again, fairly large box, master grade size if you built one of those before. And it's just something different. Finding these in the States is a challenge and a half. I have not actually seen these in the States yet, and that is totally sealed, so give me a sec, let's pop that open. Let's take a look inside. As you can see, I haven't even taken a look inside yet, so it should be interesting. Alright. Okay. I don't know any Chinese, but maybe I'll take a look at that later, or wait until the family's here and they can have me figure that out together. Okay, this looks to be, that's all decals. And those are some quite thin and delicate striping. Might be fun. Then again, it might not be. Pretty thick manual. We'll take a look at that in a sec. And I do notice right off the bat that we've got some English on that. Xiahou Dun was always my favorite Dynasty Warriors character. The big, giant, curved broadsword. And one eye. Oh, check that out. So we've got a couple of faces. Faces are pre-painted. Most importantly, missing the eye. We've got some blank ones as well, so if you don't like the look with the eye patch, you can go without it. Some wires. Looks like the paws. Okay. We've got rubber, at least for the hands, pre-posed. More paw pieces. Thought we saw H or G already, but I could be wrong. The body of the wolf is, not wolf, tiger is substantially sized. And there's a lot of sprues to account for. It's like 6 or 7 white sprues. Moving into the black ones. Now here's an interesting, this is a multicolored one. We've got both silver and black on the same sprue. Duplicates of that. A few translucent parts that goes on the armor. Various body pieces, again, multi-part runner. Surprised to see that. Casting looks pretty good. You can see the hair right here is cast on the same runner. Okay, we've got flesh-colored parts. More translucent bits. A whole sprue dedicated to translucent bits. You know what I haven't seen, though? Polycaps. And then finally a few more metallic silver pieces. So that's a lot to build. I'm not gonna mince words. It's a lot to do here. I'm a bit bummed that there's not actually just stickers, but that's okay. We will survive. Whether or not we actually use those decals is an entirely different story. Let's take a look. So to start with, we've got a... No, I was hoping we'd have a little bit more manga stuff. Body display. Gets into a little bit of background, how they're going to look. Usual parts layout. They do give explanations here in English in case you've never built any of these, and if this totally just resonates with you, if you feel like you want to build it. Huh. Interesting. Not only do we have it in English, but we have it in Japanese as well. And I like the fact that they tell us which runners we're going to be needing. That is a nice little helpful hint. Appreciated. All right. Again, the actual construction doesn't look too bad. It just looks like it's going to be a lot of parts, much like the Zenshi powered armor guy. I think it's just going to be a lot of building up the parts. But part 10, step 57. Okay. Oh boy. That's okay. Again, at the very least, we've got everything labeled pretty well. Tie a knot, cut the excess part. Okay, that's going to be fun. I hate having to do that with the tail pieces. Got a little thing on how to do the decals back here, as well as a breakdown of where everything goes, how to switch the parts around for the armor. Not bad. Pretty informative. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. Like I said, I don't recall seeing anything in the way of polycaps. Maybe I just missed them. But let's give it a look-see and find out how it turns out. Sit tight. All right, we got Xiahou Dun all put together here, and you know what? I'm pretty pleased with the results, I gotta say. Okay, for one thing, she actually can stand on her own 2 feet. But of all of the figure models that I have built, and by figures I mean specifically like the Mecha Musume, armored girl type model kits, this truly really does feel like the solidest, most solid, if we're going to have correct grammar here, of the various types. Everything is really sturdy, stable. It's got the plugs there for her few various accessories. Not a whole lot of accessories for the figure itself. We've got like the bits that can either form a backpack or wing or a skirt. I went with the backpack mode just because they don't really fit as a skirt on the wolf, saber-tooth, tiger, whatever it is thing. Shield, pretty straightforward, pretty simple, just a plug on the arm. Would have been nice to have a little handle for it. And then she can actually manage to hold her blade. If you've seen my videos on some of the Hunter's Poem or whatever, the Tsuyada models, that's been an issue. Getting the hand to actually grip the blade. So you can see it does actually stay in her hand. It's not flopping around. She can get into decent poses. There is a good amount of mobility and articulation in the actual figure. That's always nice to see. Now, the only real challenge that I had with her was getting her little crown attached to her head, and I'm looking for it right here. It kind of fits the contours of her hair and doesn't really stay all that well. So, yeah. I do also like the fact that we have options for what you can do with her face, besides just the typical face choices. You have a couple of options with the eye patch as well. Me being a long-standing Dynasty Warriors fan, you gotta have the eye patch. I'm gonna set her to the side, and I mean, honestly, she was a real joy to build. Actually, it was a nice kit. But what really shocked me was her ride. I was not expecting something of this size, this depth. It was actually a pretty nice kit. I gotta say, this sucker is huge too. It's got a fully articulated tail with the wire in there. They gave you a rubber band nylon string thing, but I didn't really care for it. The mobility and posability in the actual cat, wolf, whatever it is a bit limited in some spots. There's some nice little fun options, like on the missile launcher here. It's hard to see. There's a little colored piece in there. I know those are movable. I don't remember what that attaches to. Cannon functions as a booster. Surprisingly, her ride does not actually transform. Seems like something that was a bit of an oversight. There's these little flaps on the inside of its chest that I don't know what they do. They don't really seem to serve any purpose. Most of the armor is modular, but being plastic on plastic, it's not the easiest stuff to move around. I mean, this really feels like a solid, 1/72nd Zoid kit. Got the cannon in the mouth. Hard to see there, but it's there. Funny enough, I actually forgot to attach a piece. There's supposed to be a clear yellow part right underneath his head. You can't even see in there, so I figured I'm not going to disassemble the entire body just for the one spot, but there's a lot of spots I think that are going to look really well if you panel line it. I mean, there is good posability and flex in all of the joints of the leg. They can't splay out too far to the sides, at least in the front. There's a bit more in the back in how you can give and take with the joints. And it is quite easy for our heroine to mount up on top of that and sit there. There are little foot rests. I don't have them on her feet at the moment. And then I forget how. There's a way to get her sword attached to the gun. And the shield, I think, is what mounts there. Take her backpack off for a sec. So, curiously, and I mean, what's crazy is this kit was actually cheaper than the Xiahou stuff. And I mean, her tire alone is, I'd say worth a good chunk of the cost. There is no stand for her, but you'll notice she's actually a bit taller than the 1/12 Xiahou figure. Maybe 1/10 scale? Grabbing an ATK Girl Eastern Heroes model. You can see she's still a bit bigger, a bit thicker. I think those proportions help. The big bulky limbs. I can't speak if that's going to be the same for a lot of the earlier kits. I know there were some issues people had. The 1/144th Gundam there. With our big ol' Zinchi Hobby power armor suit. I guess if you wanted, you could pop the head and stick it in there. Make it look like she's piloting the thing. I don't know. But overall, I gotta say, I'm really impressed. Really, truly am. To the point that I'm probably going to keep an eye out on some of their upcoming kits. I really did like that blacksmith kit that had like an optional unarmored version of her. The blacksmith, not Xiahou Dun. I got a Ultraman right there. Just about the same size as the Figurized Ultra Axe stuff. So, overall, I've got some pretty positive impressions. I mean, I've heard some people complain that there aren't a whole ton of accessories. I mean, yeah, looking at like the Azure Dragon figure, I know this isn't the final armored up version, but the armored version of her's got crazy amount of accessories, if you like that. But this, I think, the general quality of the build, very straightforward, very easy to follow, very sturdy, very stable. So that's a big plus in my book. I know they have like a Ma Chao with a big bike. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to say, I had Arya's bike. I'd say that our Tiger wins in terms of size. Other than just being a lot of white and needing the colors broke up. And there is a little bit of, you know, silver, dark gray, yellow in there. Overall, I'd say I'm pretty impressed. Definitely going to be keeping an eye out for some of their other stuff. Maybe not the ones that look a little too young. I'm not really cool into that. If you like youngish looking ones, that's your business. Let's keep it at that and move on. But definitely I'm going to be keeping an eye out for some of the other MS General models in the near future. So we'll see if we see some more on this channel. I got mine on Show Z. I saw last she was on there. It was only like $50, which I'd say for a nice, good quality figure and monster, that's a pretty decent deal. And I know they got plenty more coming out. So if you're interested, do take a look there. If you want, I'll put a link down below. And hopefully you guys are going to have some fun building these just as much as I have. So with that said, this has been High Lord Tamerlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.